War I ended in 1918 and the troops came home, folks felt optimistic about the future and eager to get on with their lives. This optimism led to an extraordinary decade that brought major changes to the way citizens traveled. People had been traveling by trains for decades. During the 1920s, the Southern Railway operated 100 daily trains throughout the state. More than 1,500 towns and cities in the country had railway stations, and large stations with interesting designs still exist to this day. In the 1920s, railroads developed a new program for vacation travelers. Comfortable Pullman cars for spending the night and quality food and dining cars made long-distance travel a pleasure. If someone took the train to Asheville, he or she would most likely transfer to a streetcar to a ride to their destined hotel or resort.
Many years after the invention of the airplane by the Wright brothers, Charles Lindbergh flew a non-stop from New York City to Paris in a single-engine airplane. It took him 33 and a half hours to travel the 3,610 miles. When he reached Paris, this dramatic event made headlines in every newspaper in the country and made the young aviator a young hero. To further promote aviation, Lindbergh flew the Spirit of St. Louis to every state in the nation during 1927. Publicity from Lindbergh's transatlantic flight and national tour encouraged the development of airports and scheduled passenger flights in the world. In many areas of the U.S., small aviation companies experimented with carrying passengers from one city to another. In 1930, Eastern Airlines began regular scheduled flights from New York to Miami with stops in Greensboro and Charlotte. These flights carried both passengers and mail.
But in North Carolina, the big transportation story in the 1920s was the creation of all-weather highways that brought together countries and regions and benefited farmers and those who lived in towns and cities. The number of vehicles tripled and led to new businesses such as car dealerships, service stations, and bus and trucking companies.
More and more Tar Heels were buying cars for the first time, and Model T Fords were the most popular because their reasonable price and reliability. Drivers liked the freedom that cars provided. However, they were frustrated at having to drive on dirt roads between towns and cities, especially during rainy or wintry weather. Mud was a huge problem. Harriet Moorhead Berry was determined to improve the condition of the state's highways. A native of Hillsboro, she was a graduate of the State Normal and Industrial School. She joined the Geological and Economic Survey in Chapel Hill in 1901 as a secretary and developed a reputation as someone who could quickly understand complex issues about highways, the environment, and employment. The survey office helped many organizations, including the NCGRA, the North Carolina Roads Association. The association had tried for many years to get roads and highways improved. Beginning in 1919, Berry took charge of the Good Roads Association, increasing the organization's membership from 200 to 5,500 in only 2 years. By the time the 1921 legislature met, Berry and the Good Roads Association were well prepared to influence the legislature. Progressive Governor Cameron Morrison of Charlotte and talented chairman of the State Highway Commission, Frank Page, was in office. Responding to the public demand for better roads, the legislature passed the Historic Highway Act, which included a 1 cent per gallon tax on gasoline to help finance hard-surface, all-weather highways. By 1929, the legislature had raised the gas tax to 5 cents per gallon. These funds allowed the state to pave more than 3,000 miles of highways that are connected to the county. Also in 1929, the State Highway Patrol was organized, consisting of 10 officers and 27 troopers who rode motorcycles. While travel by the state's railroads and highways increased, citizens across North Carolina also attended exciting barnstorming shows at local airfields. These shows featured wing-walking daredevils jumping out of airplanes with parachutes and the opportunity for airplane rides for $5 a person.
All these new methods of transportation made it much easier to travel for normal citizens, and this technology will flourish and increase as time moves on.